Kyrsten Sinema's decision not to seek re-election in 2024 rips open a critical Senate seat in Arizona that Democrats had counted on holding. Sinema, once a Democrat, became an independent in December 2022, but she continued to caucus with her former party, giving Democrats a slim 51-seat majority. Arizona itself is a fast-growing Sun Belt battleground where presidential elections have flipped from red to blue and back within a single cycle. Sinema's seat was always going to be a top target for Republicans, but her withdrawal turns a competitive race into a wide-open free-for-all. Democrats now must defend 23 Senate seats in 2024, while Republicans defend only 11, making the map the toughest for Democrats in decades. Among those 23 Democratic-held seats, 3 are in states Donald Trump won twice: Montana, Ohio, and West Virginia. Sinema's Arizona seat adds a fourth Republican-leaning state to the Democrats' already precarious defensive lineup. The Cook Political Report immediately shifted the Arizona race from lean Democrat to toss-up the moment Sinema bowed out. Without an incumbent, both parties face a costly, chaotic primary that could drain resources from other must-win contests. On the Democratic side, Representative Ruben Gallego had already announced a primary challenge to Sinema before she dropped out. Gallego is a progressive Marine Corps veteran who represents a heavily Hispanic Phoenix district and has raised more than $8 million so far. On the Republican side, the primary is a three-way brawl between Kari Lake, Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb, and venture capitalist Blake Masters. Lake, the 2022 gubernatorial nominee who refused to concede, remains the best-known and most polarizing figure in the Arizona GOP. Masters, who lost the 2022 Senate race to Democrat Mark Kelly, is trying again with the backing of tech billionaire Peter Thiel. Sheriff Lamb has built a strong base in rural counties but lacks the statewide name recognition and war chest of his rivals. Sinema's decision to step aside forces Democrats to spend heavily in a state where President Biden is also underperforming in polling. Arizona's electorate has shifted left on immigration and abortion rights, but inflation and border security still favor Republicans. The state's growing suburban voter base in Maricopa County, home to Phoenix, has trended Democratic since 2016, but the margins are razor-thin. In 2020, Biden won Arizona by just 10,457 votes, a 0.3-point margin that was the closest in the nation. In 2022, Mark Kelly won his re-election by a comfortable 5 points, but that was against a flawed candidate in Masters. Now without an incumbent, Democrats lose the advantage of incumbency, built-in name recognition, donor networks, and a proven campaign infrastructure. Sinema herself had amassed a $10 million war chest that would have made her a formidable candidate, but she chose to walk away. Her personal reasons are unclear, but her exit suggests she saw a difficult path to victory in a primary she would have lost to Gallego. Sinema was once a rising star in the party, but her centrist positions on the filibuster, tax policy, and immigration alienated progressive voters. She famously gave a thumbs down to raising the minimum wage in 2021, a move that enraged the left and made her a target for primary challengers. Her defection from the Democratic Party, while keeping her committee assignments, further eroded her support among former allies. Gallego's campaign immediately labeled the seat as the most important Senate race in the country, after Sinema's announcement. National Republican groups, meanwhile, see Arizona as their best pickup opportunity outside of West Virginia and Montana. The Senate Leadership Fund, a super PAC aligned with Mitch McConnell, has already reserved $10 million in Arizona ad time for the general election. Democrats' primary super PAC, Senate Majority PAC, has pledged to match any Republican spending in the state. The immediate effect of Sinema's retirement is that the race becomes a pure toss-up, rated as such by every major nonpartisan analyst. That one rating change alone pushes the overall Senate map from a 50-50 coin flip to a slight Republican advantage in the battle for control. Currently, Democrats hold 51 seats to Republicans' 49, meaning the GOP needs only a net gain of 2 seats to win the majority. Republicans are all but certain to flip the West Virginia seat once Joe Manchin retires. He hasn't announced yet, but the seat is solid red. If Manchin retires, as widely expected, that's one Republican pickup right there. Then Ohio and Montana become the next biggest targets, both with Democratic incumbents in states Trump carried by 8 and 16 points, respectively. Now Arizona joins that list, giving Republicans at least 3 genuine pickup opportunities in deep red or swing states. If Republicans win West Virginia and Arizona, they would have 51 seats and the majority even if they lose all other races. But the math gets even more dangerous for Democrats if other seats become vulnerable. Pennsylvania's Bob Casey, Michigan's Debbie Stabenow, retiring, and Wisconsin's Tammy Baldwin all face competitive re-elections in blue-leaning states. Nevada's Jackie Rosen is also a top Republican target in a state that narrowly voted for Biden. Sinema's exit forces Democrats to divert money and resources from those races to shore up Arizona. The Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, DSCC, will have to prioritize Arizona alongside Montana and Ohio, strain its budget. Historically, the party that controls the White House tends to lose Senate seats in midterm and sixth-year elections, and 2024 is a presidential year, but the pattern still holds. Since 1932, the president's party has lost Senate seats in 20 of the 24 presidential elections. Democrats are defending more seats than Republicans in a year when the map is already tilted by geography. Sinema's decision can be seen as a strategic retreat. She avoids a losing primary and preserves her political brand for a future run, perhaps for governor. But her departure also ends the era of the bipartisan, Sinema-Manchin duo that repeatedly frustrated progressive legislation in the 117th Congress. Together they blocked changes to the filibuster, killed the Build Back Better Act's price tag, and watered down voting rights bills. Without Sinema in the Senate, Democrats lose a crucial swing vote that could have been pivotal in close votes on immigration reform or budget reconciliation. Her replacement, whether Ruben Gallego or a Republican, will shift the ideological balance of the Senate sharply in one direction. Gallego is a staunch progressive who supports the Green New Deal, Medicare for all, and abolishing the filibuster. A Republican would oppose virtually all Biden priorities. Thus, the Arizona race is not just about control of the Senate but about the future legislative agenda on climate, health care, and democracy reform. Sinema earned a reputation as a maverick willing to cross party lines, but she also drew criticism for prioritizing corporate donors and campaign cash. From 2018 to 2022, she received more than $1.7 million from the financial sector, the pharmaceutical industry, and private equity. She was one of the top recipients of donations from the cryptocurrency industry, which lobbied heavily against a provision in the infrastructure bill. Her vote against the billionaire tax in 2021 was widely seen as a gift to wealthy donors, and it infuriated her fellow Democrats. That vote, along with her refusal to end the filibuster, made her a villain among the party's base. Progressive groups like Justice Democrats and the Working Families Party launched ads and fundraising drives against her. By the time she announced her retirement, her approval among Arizona Democrats had plummeted to just 12% in one poll.